back, uninformed movie lovers. Come out to play. Yay!
Wow.
Yeah, the episode you have all been waiting for. We just had to murder Danny and get rid of his body in order to be allowed to do it. Today, on episode 73, we're talking about the Warriors, y'all.
Yeah, I can dig it, man. I can definitely dig that.
Can
I'm
you?
very excited.
That's it. That is exciting. Your
Yeah.
excitement excites me. Oh boy, what a joyous occasion. I feel like hard pause because like usually we start with like initial impressions, but it's like I
this
think
is a
it's
weird
on
one.
record.
Yeah.
Like we are Warriors fans.
And well, we've CLE'd this movie, haven't we?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we have. And that's when we found out Danny hated it.
Yes, because he hadn't seen it, and we were all excited to watch it, and we were excited for Danny to experience it, and then he just didn't like it.
Yeah, what a bummer. I think that was one of the
Yeah.
first times I started going, what is it with this guy? And then I started questioning his taste in movies.
You know, I'm surprised it took you that long. Really, that's
Yeah,
now that makes me question. I'm having that experience about you.
you should. You should. 1997's The Warriors, the cult classic film.
Sorry, 1979 dyslexic Frank.
Oh, yeah, what are you going to do? Yeah, sorry about that. 1997. I think it's because I was looking at Grace.
That's weird. That's
Yeah.
a weird.
I saw the tag behind her ear that said 1997 manufacturing date. Yeah,
Nice.
yeah.
Return by.
Yeah, well, the cult classic film. And I guess we're just going to get into a little deep dive.
Yeah.
Maybe a slightly deeper than shallow dive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Subway depth.
Yeah, at the very least.
Yeah.
I did find out some fun facts this round that I didn't know before, which was
Same.
really exciting.
Yeah.
It's like, wow, all the time I've spent loving the Warriors, which I realize now coincided with the 2005 DVD release of like the Ultimate Director's Cut. That's my first Warriors experience, like picking it up, the
Interesting.
Director's Cut, just watching it.
Where'd you get it at?
I wish I could tell you.
Oh man.
I probably rented it at Hollywood Video first,
Dope.
if we're being honest.
Dope.
And then I went out and bought it.
How
Because I
old-
still have that.
How old were you? It was 2005.
2005, so I was like 14.
Wow, that's almost exactly when I had seen it. And I think that 2005 has to do with the game. I'm pretty sure the game came out in 2005.
That makes sense. So you got to re-release the DVD, get the buzz going, or ride the wave.
Because I think that like, well, okay, my memory of the Warriors comes from 8th grade history class, where I had this teacher. He was like the cool guy teacher. He had like a band.
Bought the kids cigarettes and then got like arrested and fired.
You know,
later.
I wouldn't be surprised. You know what I mean? That's kind of how that always goes, right? But he was in a band and he would talk about, you know, I'm at home in my recording studio working on our album right now. Just like really cringy when you think about it. But
This is the teacher recording the podcast in studio right now.
yeah. It's very self-effacing.
Yeah.
But one day he was just in class talking randomly about this movie, and he was like, "Yeah, have you guys ever seen this movie, The Warriors? It's like this gang of guys have to fight their way across New York, which is it's the easiest sell ever. It's very simple.
Yeah.
But I remember like thinking, oh, that sounds cool, and going home and asking my dad, like, have you ever seen The Warriors? And him being like, oh yeah, that's a cool movie. And then I don't think I watched it until 2005 because I feel like the movie was sort of hard to find in a weird way.
Yeah.
Especially in the 90s when it was like, if Blockbuster doesn't have it and it's not playing on TV, that's kind of it. That's like the end of the...
Yeah.
There's no other option.
You got to wait a
which is
few years
crazy.
until you can order the DVD on Netflix and have it shipped to your house.
Yeah. It's so weird how we consume movies differently. And now I think The Warriors is just on YouTube. You can watch it in parts.
Yes, and it is streaming currently on... God, what do we watch it on? Peacock, maybe?
Oh, okay. Who knows anymore?
Yeah, who
you know?
knows?
You just Google it and then you click that app.
I was like currently streaming on... Yeah, I always go to IMDb. IMDb's always got the scoop.
Oh, does it really?
where for
I've
me to
never
watch
used
movies.
it. Okay, I should do that. I'm being the boomer. I'm still just Googling it.
Okay, boomer.
And then like scrolling through and saying, no, this one's bad. There's,
Prime. Currently streaming
okay.
on Prime, yeah.
So let me ask you, when you watched it, did it have those animated scenes in the movie?
No, it didn't. And I was so excited to watch it too. And it's really a problem of like, I have that same DVD still somewhere in my house, and I
Yes.
just didn't feel like looking for it because I'm a 20th century man. I'm lazy. It's
that.
available on streaming. You know what I mean? And I feel like I robbed Grace. This was her first watch.
Oh, okay.
I robbed her of those cool like comic book titles and
Oh,
flashcards.
you like these,
I
don't
like
you?
them.
Oh,
Yeah.
man.
I think it adds.
I forgot about this. I hate them. I think they're
love it.
horrible. Really? Okay, well, I remember on this DVD, and I have the Blu-ray version of the same cut.
Yeah.
So,
It's got the theatrical and the...
No,
it's just the one.
only the
That's
director's
awesome.
cut. And for a while, it was the only Blu-ray you could buy of it. And I think in the last like 5 years or something, they finally put out a Blu-ray of the theatrical release. Because it is divisive. Not everyone hates it, the animated thing, but there's a part where Walter Hill, the director, talks about it at the beginning and saying like that it added that this was his original intention, but he didn't have the money or ability to add in these transition scenes.
Yeah.
So this is him updating his movie to be like what he originally had in his mind.
Yeah, the studio hated the idea and refused to pay for it.
And then he also adds some text too, like
Yeah.
in whatever BC Spartan soldiers were. Is it Spartans? I think so.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
Yeah.
It's essentially 300.
Yeah.
He like describes the movie 300 really quick.
Because it's King Leonidas's
Yeah.
like army, I'm pretty sure.
I think it is inspired by
Yeah.
the same story.
Yeah.
Which is kind of funny to think about that when the Warriors came out, no one was like, oh, there's going to be a 300 movie one day. And then that just kind of shows up too. I mean, very different movies, obviously. Both, well, I mean, see, this would have been a fun episode.
The jump off point, yeah, that's something we should have brought up.
Shirtless, oily men. And that's where the Venn diagram crosses over.
Yeah, one super high def abs and
Yeah.
the other not so much.
And the use of like red and brown
Yeah.
with the main characters, it's in both too.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Huh.
But anyway, I feel like I usually really dislike directors updating their movies. Very seldomly do I enjoy it. Is there any that you are... Well, obviously the Warriors, you enjoy that one, but...
Yeah, I like the Warriors one. Apparently that re-release of Godfather 3 is supposed to be better, although I haven't seen it.
Oh, I have the... What is it called? Godfather...
The Gabagool cut.
It's Godfather Part 3, Coda. The Death of Michael Corleone. Which also kind of spoils the end of the movie.
Yeah,
in the
you don't
title.
want to give it away.
Sort of unnecessary. I mean, I guess, who hasn't seen it? It is better, but why watch Godfather 3? Time is precious on the earth.
Well, Grace actually just saw Godfather for the first time
yeah.
because she thought it was on her movie homework list, and I was like, "Well, we can watch The Godfather. Let's do it."
Anytime.
And after we finished it and she enjoyed it, I was like, "Sick! Now we have to watch part 2 and then have a good time. Then we'll watch part 3 so you can see how much it sucks."
Yeah.
And her tattoo artist that we were having this conversation in front of was like, "Oh yeah."
Anyone who's seen the Godfather trilogy, and I feel like when you tell someone to watch The Godfather, you say, don't even bother watching it. Everyone says that. Don't even watch the third one. It's horrible. No one ever listens because they're like, well, I've watched 2 3-hour long movies. Let's finish it.
Yeah.
And then they're like, man, wow.
Wow, what a waste of time.
It's just this guy banging his cousin.
Wow,
It's
Sofia
really rough.
Coppola is not a good actress.
Well, this is nepotism at its
Yeah.
worst. You know what I mean? Sofia Coppola's performance, man. Yeah, that is really rough. Well, that's a pretty good one, actually. I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah.
Blade Runner has a decent one, too. It kind of changes the end of the movie.
I've never seen Blade Runner.
Oh,
Any of the cuts.
Blade Runner is long.
Yeah.
Is long.
I gave a tattoo while you guys were watching Blade Runner one time, but I
That's
was very
right.
focused.
Yeah, Michelle, I've watched Blade Runner with Michelle 4 times, and she's only remembered it like once, the latest time. And I think even now, if I asked her, hey, what's Blade Runner about? Like, just text her, she'd be like, I have no idea.
But she remembers that she's seen the movie.
Yes, this isn't
that's
a
the
full-
difference with the Hereditary.
Yeah,
Okay.
Frank Hereditary situation.
I was like, why
This
am
is
I
like
catching
different.
so much slack over here?
No,
But
no.
Yeah, that's
This
different.
is like, I was sleeping through the movie because it is extremely boring, Blade Runner. But if you do watch it, watch the director's cut. It's a little more interesting, I think.
Okay.
There's something in it that's a cool idea. Some people hate it though. Anyways, Back to the Warriors.
Back to the Warriors. I was gonna say before we get any deeper, I feel like
yeah.
this is the easiest synopsis ever, and I feel like that's where the power lies in the Warriors, the simplicity of the plot.
I feel like my strange 8th grade teacher
Right?
already
I
kind
feel
of
like
summarized it
that
for
nails
us.
it.
He's right.
Yeah.
Strange guy, but
But yeah, strange guy. But yeah, I feel like the simplicity of the plot is one of its strengths, where it's just straight up, and it's not even an action movie. You know what I mean? It is.
It's like an adventure movie.
Yeah, it's a quest.
It could almost be like Lord of the Rings, but just set in gritty New York. Yeah, maybe even a little Western vibes.
Well, it's the director and the other guy who wrote the screenplay. They were originally working together because they wanted to make a Western, but they couldn't get the funding for it. And this was the next project they picked up after that.
Interesting.
So I think they had a little bit of that Western gear stuck in it still.
And then maybe they could, because if you guys listened to the previous episode and got all the way through it, I talk a little bit about Long Riders, and that is Walter Hill's next film is a Western.
He finally got to do it.
He got that money probably from the Warriors.
Yeah.
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 Well, speaking of money, though, we were going to get to the numbers, right?
Yeah. I mean, naturally, that's where we're going next. Yeah. The Warriors, with its 93-minute runtime, currently has a 7.6 out of 10 on IMDb and an 88% on Rotten Tomatoes, which was not always the case. Made on a budget of $4 million. Had an opening weekend of $3,500,000 and a worldwide gross of $22,490,471.
Give me that IMDb score one more time.
7.6 out of 10.
7.6. That makes sense for this movie, I feel like.
Yeah.
Well, it's also a little bit of that. It's not a serious film. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Even though I think some of it is pretty artsy.
Some of it is.
Yeah, some of it is very artsy. There's definitely some rough performances, I think, that lend to the 7.6. But
yeah. And Walter Hill didn't set out to make like a full-on art piece, and he didn't set out to make like a full-on action movie. He had like a very specific vision in his mind. And I was reading a chunk of an interview. He was like, I was really appreciative for like the actors and the crew and like them sticking with me through this. I don't think a lot of them got it, but they stuck with this like crazy old man with his vision, and we got it done. And it's the film I wanted to make.
That's awesome. It's a very stylized movie.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Even just like right flat on its face, all of the gang designs, it would never happen. You know what I mean?
No.
But it's this weird kind of dystopian future, kind of, I don't know, not cyberpunk, but like adjacent to that. It's its own flavor. I don't know what else you would compare it to. We have all these kind of wacky gangs that all have their own identity and elaborate face paint and stuff. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, it's almost like Gangs of New York, but if they really leaned on costumes outside of just the big rumble.
Maybe it would have been a better movie. Not that that's a bad movie. It's okay.
I like Gangs of New York.
It's just in the breadth of Scorsese's films.
Yeah, true.
You know, it's not
true.
It's not top 5, but
yeah,
he's got very intense siblings. So what are you gonna do?
What are you gonna do?
Anyways, back to the Warriors. I feel so sidetracked today, man.
That'll happen.
It's the end of a long day, I guess.
Huh.
Okay, so we talked about our first times watching the Warriors, which obviously exciting. I feel like, is this a horrible time to get your opinion on the game before we go full movie? You've played some of it with me, right? But you haven't played a ton of it?
No, I haven't played a ton of it. I've never played through it on my own. All the Warriors, the game play has been at your side bopping.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. I played it once at a friend's house right after watching the movie and being super excited about the game, which was a weird choice because it's also not like a very huge IP, especially Rockstar, who never does a movie IP. It's just like one-time thing.
They were probably just like, well, this is right up our alley.
Yeah. I'm probably just all fans of it too, I can imagine. But there's something really cool about it just sort of being like a modern day, like Final Fight or like a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle arcade game. It's like a side-scrolling beat 'em up
Yeah.
but slightly open world, like just sprinkle.
Just a little bit. Super early open world.
Yeah. But this is post Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah.
It's right before San Andreas, and you can see some of the things, like the workout mini games that they add into San Andreas. There's a few things they're testing out. But I think it's purposefully kind of like, it's meant to be levels. I think it's supposed to feel very old school. Yeah, really cool game though, which expands a lot on the lore of the movie. I guess the movie's not very long. Like you were saying earlier, was it 93 minutes?
93 minutes, nice tight 93.
Yeah, it's short and it jumps right in too, which is also really exciting.
Yeah, it doesn't waste a lot of time with like backstory. It leaves it gives you little nuggets of things without fully explaining it, which is like comparatively like John Wick. John Wick does the same things. You know what I mean?
Oh, that's interesting.
You get a little taste of like this one segment of that culture, but they don't explain it any further. They always drop the little nuggets of like John Wick's impossible task, but that's all you get. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like a running gag almost in John Wick. In this one, there's definitely little touches. Like, Cleon's the leader, and everyone respects
the
him.
warlord.
And then when Cleon goes missing or is unaccounted for early in the movie,
he doesn't come back.
Yeah, he doesn't come back. You know what I mean? Assumedly he's killed. Maybe he's arrested. Who knows? We don't know. There's just so much open to, insinuation. But all the warriors are like, well, Swan's war chief now.
Yeah.
And Ajax is like, what? You know what I mean? But they just imply without spending a bunch of time just saying, hey, this is the power dynamic.
Yeah.
Like these guys really know
war
each
chief
other.
is the second to warlord, I guess, in this gang.
Yeah, exactly. And everyone's got their own little role.
Maybe in the Baseball Furies they call it like a GM and then like head coach.
Pitch hitter. No, that wouldn't be pitch hitter. That's ridiculous. The Babe Ruth.
The Great Bambino.
Yeah. That one's silly, but if you do like a New York gang movie, I guess like the Yankees gang kind of.
I always assumed their territory was near one of the ballparks. You know what I mean? That was the assumption I had always operated under.
Yeah. That makes a lot of sense.
But they're one of the sillier gangs for sure.
Yeah.
There's like the the gang of they look like extras from The Emperor's New Groove. Like they have their little like Incan hats and little like fairy shorts and vests.
That's a
weird one.
Real goofy ones.
Mm-hmm.
There's also a list, and I think it might be around 80 names.
Wow.
That was like somewhere in the original script, like and I guess handed to the people doing the costume design and stuff, and being like, here's 80 gang names that are potentially in the Warriors universe. Because a lot of them are just wearing a different color t-shirt.
Yeah.
Because you have that opening scene, I guess after the introduction, which is also another issue I have with the director's cut, putting that text on the screen at the beginning of the movie when it should just open up on the Wonder Wheel. But anyway, back to the topic at hand. When they get to Cyrus and they have the meeting and you get that wide shot, that's also like an incredible shot.
Oh yeah.
And you have to think about the logistics of, man, they got so many extras. They had to get like nine people, dress them up exactly the same, and then do that with enough specificity that they feel distinct in that scene. And that's just what's so cool about it, man. And something about the Warriors, I don't know, theirs is really simple. The leather cut, but it feels
aside from like the individual flair, like the warlords like hairdress and stuff like that. That big meeting scene, a bunch of those extras, Walter Hill. Man, I really stumbled into that name. Walter Hill.
Bill Hill.
Bill Hill. Billiam Hilliam. Walter Hill insisted on some of those extras being like actual gang members.
Yeah.
And that caused like a lot of issues. He was like, okay, so crazy idea. A bunch of them are actual gang members. But no, it's fine. Some of them will also be off-duty police officers, and that should keep everything safe.
This guy's a madman, really.
Yeah, he really is.
Well, and I read something about like there being potential kind of like threats from some gangs because they're shooting on location in New York.
Yeah.
And then they have these buff dudes walking around. Well, they're not all buff, but you get the Warriors walking around in gang colors, just on other people's turf.
Well, production security had to break up, like several times had to break things up where actual gang members were trying to challenge the cast members, like in their gang colors.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
That's fun. I mean that, and also adding in that the Warriors are mostly unknown actors.
Mm-hmm.
I think, one of them has been relatively famous.
Dexter's dad.
Yeah. James Remar, I think. But none of the other Warriors did anything that crazy. I think Swan is in Xanadu or something, Michael Beck.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, he said something like that. But they were also unknown at the time of casting too, right? So then it was sort of getting just it feels like a real gang because you don't recognize these people as actors, and that's really important to making something like this work. And it also lets you kind of just get, I mean, maybe not the best actors, but people have the right look. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You definitely feel that when they were casting, they were like, this is the guy who looks like Swan.
This guy looks like he hasn't caught any breaks in life.
Yeah. And his performance, we'll coach him through. We'll only give him a couple lines. Because, man, some of them are really bad. That is one thing.
Like being on a youth sports like basketball team. And like there's the tall kid who doesn't know how to play basketball. But the coaches are like, no. We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
We'll teach him how to do it.
Put him under the net and we'll just throw him the ball. And then we'll figure this out. Oh, man. So do you have a favorite warrior out of the gang?
My favorite warrior would probably have to be a tie between, well, Swan, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, Swan, he's the main guy.
He's dope. I love his like hammer fist move. Hooah!
Yeah.
Hooah! That's a good time.
Yeah, let me bring in the real weight.
Yeah.
I also love his just no nonsense attitude whatsoever. It looks like this guy would be a real bummer to hang out with.
Probably.
Yeah.
Probably. And then on the opposite like vein of that, I really like Vermin.
Vermin, who's the tagger, right?
No, that's Rembrandt. Yeah,
that's Rembrandt.
That's why you give him that name.
Okay, no, I remember Vermin.
Vermin's one of the guys when they go to
the Lizzies.
The Lizzies, yeah.
Hey, what are we leaving for?
Yeah.
He's like that guy. Yeah. We just got here. Let's hang out a bit.
Come on, what's the worst that could happen?
They're trying to stab us. I forgot. We're on the run from the whole city. Yeah, that's those are good picks. I mean, Swan's great. I like Ajax. It's problematic because
it is a little problematic.
He's like the rapist. But
yeah,
I love how just completely irrational he is. He's like a fun character to watch.
He's always just itching to take on the wimps.
Yes.
I knew these guys were a bunch of wimps.
Yeah. What we running for? Yeah. I love Ajax. Man, I feel like Cleon really gets shafted. I love his look. I wish he was in more of the movie. It would have been cool if we had gotten another Warriors movie back then.
Yeah.
Like 1981 Warriors 2. There's no way to do that now. I guess the game is your only option, but... And then you have a couple Warriors that... Well, like, you heard about Rembrandt, right? That he died shortly after the Warriors.
I did not know that.
Yeah, and I think it was from, like, cancer, I'm pretty sure.
From all that spray paint.
Yeah. No. Lead-based paints.
Yeah.
No, it's something... It was something bad. I'll have to look this up while we're chatting.
Something not as bad. There's the warrior who's thrown from the tracks onto the train.
Fox.
So I just learned this little nut
Me
fact
too.
today.
Okay, I love this.
I thought this was so funny, but in preparation for this, the director had invited him over to watch a screening of some movie. He wanted him to base his character off one of these characters, and offered him a drink. At which point the actor playing Fox refused, and the relationship was never the same, and they were butting heads through production, and it got to the point where the director demanded of the stunt choreographer, hey, I don't care how you do it, just I need him dead. Like, we need to come up with a sequence today. This character has to die. I can't deal with this guy anymore. And that's why he just gets that sudden death. I never knew that.
Yeah.
And that always felt jarring in the story. Like, what?
Yeah. What do you mean he died?
Yeah,
because he's just having a fight with a cop, right? And a cop throws him in front of a moving train.
Legitimate.
Yeah.
It's 1979.
I felt threatened for my life.
Yeah.
I didn't have to say that back then. They're
Yeah,
this is just some gutter punk trash. Okay, so I got it. Rembrandt died in 86 of AIDS.
Ooh.
Yeah, at 28. Yeah. So he was only like 21 in the Warriors, maybe 20 when they were filming it.
Dang.
It's real sad, man. He died very, very young.
That AIDS will get you.
Yeah, for reals.
Yeah.
And I think, who else were we missing? I feel like Ajax and Snow and Cochise are really cool warriors. I don't think they're in anything else, though. I feel like they're only in this movie.
No, I looked at a lot of these actors' IMDb's, and they're just like in things you would have never guessed. One of them, was actually a voice actor as an NPC in GTA 5 as
That's
like
weird.
an ambulance driver. Who was it? I think it wasn't Cleon. It was Stop Going Away. Cochise.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
That's fun.
It was Cochise.
These guys often like meet up in the cuts too. It's pretty crazy. There's a lot of Warriors reunions, and there's a pretty cool video. I think it was from maybe like 7 years ago now. But
That James Remar never shows up for because he's the only one who's actually busy.
Yes, he never shows up. He's busy filming the new Dexter season. That show got canned too. No, there's a great video on YouTube where you can see them like reuniting the gang, and they're riding the train to Coney Island.
The last ride to Coney or something like that.
Yeah. That's a really fun one, man. Well, you know what? It's kind of behind the scenes, but have you seen that deleted scene of like the Warriors back at their home base, and it's in the daytime, and they have the full Warriors assembled?
No.
Yeah, there's like 120 guys.
Oh my God, I would love to see this.
All in this huge arch, and there's this girl there too, who you would assume is like Cleon's girlfriend, maybe. I guess it could be a sister. I don't know. It's been a while since I watched the scene, but it's just them talking about like getting ready for the meeting, and it's kind of obvious why it was cut. It wouldn't really fit.
Because they like rehash it again in that little montage.
I think they cleaned it up and did it there. It would have been too slow of an opening, and also killing the pacing in the movie, which is just kind of relentless.
Yeah,
you feel on the run with the gang. You don't want to do a flashback or something like that.
By the end of it, you feel the like exhaustion. You know what I mean? You're like, man, we've been walking all night with these guys, like having to bop our way through the city.
Mm-hmm. And the sun coming up too.
Yeah,
man, it's so perfect, the timing of the movie. But and a lot of it filmed in the middle of the night because it's all filmed in New York, which is usually very expensive and not very doable. But it's kind of impressive that they pulled it off for the Warriors, which the city adds so much to it. If it was like sets or something, it wouldn't have been so cool. It wouldn't have been as cool.
The fight in the bathroom and I just learned this gang name today, with the punks, the guys in the overalls.
Yeah.
That had to be shot on a soundstage because the original location, the day they were supposed to shoot there was a double homicide in the area, so they couldn't shoot there.
That's dope.
Yeah.
That's a really fun scene. That's maybe the best fight choreography of the movie.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, you could tell they spent a lot of time with it, and then them kind of jumping out and turning the trap around on them. That's a lot of fun.
Counter ambush.
On the opposite side of the coin, one of my criticisms of the movie is the baseball fury fight scene, which I think is really rough.
It's got the like 70's kung fu aspect where like there's one guy like waiting for his turn. You know what I mean?
I almost got like 1930s Sinbad movie. You know what I mean? Like old school pirate movie in black and white.
I can see that.
Like,
yeah.
Ha Havachi, and he's just going. He just keeps hitting the overhead swing. And then Swan just keeps coming up for the same block.
Well, sometimes you got to spam your opponent until they break down.
It felt like that day they were just like, why don't we have bats? You know what I mean? Oh man, we forgot the bats. Okay, just give the actors bats. What do you mean? We have a fight, Corey. No. Just have them hit the bats around a little bit. It'll be like Star Wars. The kids will love it. And then it's a nonsense. It's a nonsense fight scene.
Yeah, that is a pretty silly fight.
Yeah. Although isn't the end of that scene Ajax hitting on that undercover cop and getting arrested?
Yeah, it's like as they're breaking away from the park at this point.
That's one of my favorite scenes in the movie.
Yeah.
Especially just him getting trapped and realizing that, because he thinks so little of women that to be trapped by a woman is cutting him as deep as possible, and he's such an asshole.
That's really what he's so angry about.
Yeah. He's like, no, I'm the predator. You know what I mean? Yeah. He really hates it, and he's like yanking on that park bench. Mm-hmm. It's really good.
Like an animal trap.
Yes. Yeah.
And then he gets his last line in the movie is like his catchphrase, like you have wimps.
Bunch of wimps. I love it. Apparently he got that. James Remar got that role from his physicality in the audition, that he like physically moved the table while like doing his table read. and he like kind of like startled the people who were, whoever was watching.
Old Billiam
cast.
Hilliam was like, "Whoa, I feel threatened."
Oh my god, this is the energy I need. You're in. How little will you work for? Oh man! And a star was born.
A star was born.
Yeah.
A star of super supporting small roles was born.
I feel like we've talked about a lot of big scenes out of order. I'm trying to think about. Oh well, you know what? The orphan scene is a great early scene. It's like the first gang. So they run away from the bus, the Mad Max bus.
Yes.
And then they escape in
the
orphans.
Turnbull
ACs.
Turnbull ACs.
I only know all these gang names because of the video game, because they really drill it into you.
I remember them from the radio show. Like the radio show updates.
The Turnbull ACs have let them get away. But now they're in orphan territory. Yeah, it's good stuff. I got to do a close-up of the lips. I really messed that up.
That's okay.
Anyway.
Next time, we'll do it in post.
The orphans, or the Wimpy gang, with that guy who looks like he's someone, but he isn't.
Yeah.
I don't know what that feeling is, but it's like, I know this guy. He is in a movie I've seen before, but he looks like a different actor, and I don't know what actor it is.
Interesting. Let me look at his face again.
He's got like a shapeshifter face or something. He might be a reptile person. But anyways, the orphans are just this really wimpy gang. They look wimpy. Their outfits are just like a gray shirt with like, it looks like stuck on letters.
It's like an army drab shirt that they probably got at like the surplus store.
Yes, and then they like sewed on some orphans.
His name's Paul Greco, and he's been in some things.
Yeah,
he's in The Cable Guy, Crocodile Dundee.
And there's another movie. Is he in Next of Kin? Would have been an 80s movie too, I think.
He is.
That's what I know.
Leo and Next of Kin. Yes. Is that Patrick Swayze?
Yeah, man. Haven't we watched Next of Kin on the channel?
I don't think so.
I thought we did. I thought I burned a birthday watch on it one time.
No, I don't remember this movie.
I could have sworn that you watched it.
Maybe it's like a Hereditary thing. Maybe I have seen this movie.
Paul, what's the name?
I've seen this movie.
Yes, it's the guy from what's the guy from Aliens? Game Over, man. You love that guy. What's his name?
Bill Paxton.
Yeah, Bill Paxton gets murdered, and Patrick Swayze goes in to investigate as a cop in the big city.
Yeah, dude.
And then Liam Neeson is like the redneck brother.
Mm-hmm. It's got Adam Baldwin.
Yeah, a young Ben Stiller's in that movie.
Yeah, this is a cool revenge movie.
Yes.
I do remember this now.
I love Next of Kin. The bus full of snakes. Dang. Anyway, so yeah, this Paul Greco guy's in two movies that I deeply love, Warriors and that, but I just love how unintimidated the Warriors are. There are only 9 guys. There's like 40 orphans. They're like, these guys suck.
Well, that scene's so funny because like when it finally comes to a head, they're like, whatever, they blow these guys off, and the orphans come out with their chains and their sticks and stuff they had sitting around the house, and they think like, okay, now we're gonna show them. And then they hit him with the Molotov cocktail. They explode a car, and the orphans just scatter.
Yeah,
like they're like holy shit, these guys are serious. We're way out of our league. Everybody run home right now.
Oh, I don't want to be killed.
Yeah.
And this is where the gang runs into Mercy, who's the love interest for Swan in the movie.
Yeah,
which was also going to be Fox originally.
Yes,
and also
but it was like their chemistry on screen that they rewrote it for.
Yeah, and Swan was going to be like abusive or something. There's something else going on that the character was going to be like a darker character, and it kind of turns into a more traditional sort of love story. Although really, they don't have a lot of interaction.
No,
but then they just end up together at the end of the movie
because they're both like, hey, I want to get out of here, and she's like, yeah, I want to get out of here too, and they're like, we'll get out of here together.
What do you think about Mercy? What do you think about the character?
Pretty shallow character.
Yeah.
Like, not a very deep character. Like, I can see why she's in there to kind of stir things up a little bit.
Yeah. I like the role she plays in the Orphans Warriors dynamic, where she's kind of just stirring the pot a little bit. She sort of wants to, see if she can push them into being more respectable. She's like, I've attached myself to this subpar group.
Yeah, she seems a little bit more like a set piece, you know what I mean? Hop into the other gang. I like the scene when they're on the subway and she's sitting next to Swan, and that those two couples come from like the
prom.
nightclub or prom or something. And she goes to like fix her hair to try to like make herself look better. And Swan's like, no, like don't hide yourself. Like,
yes,
screw these people.
That might be the strongest scene of the movie.
Yeah.
As far as like some kind of dramatic impact. That's a really good scene. I feel like Mercy also, I mean, they dress her up to just kind of look trashy in the movie too. You know what I mean? She's not supposed to be
Highfalutin.
I think in another movie with less of a satirical edge to it, I guess, Mercy would have been more traditionally attractive, if that makes sense. Like, you would dress up your female character in a different way if this movie was a little hammier or a little straight action movie. But Walter Hill is really kind of talking about these aimless youth.
Yeah.
You know, we're rooting for them.
The forgotten.
Yes, the totally forgotten. And it's like, this is their life? What the heck's going on? These are a bunch of kids. Which apparently in the book, they're even younger. I've never read the book. I've always wanted to, but...
I've also never read the book. And I was thinking about it today, like doing a little bit of research. Like I should. Like I love
maybe
The Outsiders.
Yeah.
Rumblefish. Like that would sit really nice together on the bookshelf, I feel like.
I hear that it is very different though. In both like thematically and also like the plot. It's a little more critical. It's a little less idealizing the warriors and more of like, look how horrible their lives are, which still kind of down for, you know what I mean? In a different way. Yeah. We'll have to read that. Sol Uric, I believe.
A big thing I got, Sol Uric. A big thing I got from Walter Hill's like interviews is like, he didn't, all gang stories were like picturing gangs as like the blight on society, but he wanted to tell the story from like the gang's perspective. Like this gang is my world, and I will do whatever I need to for the gang. Like this is my day-to-day life and my existence. Like there's nothing out of the ordinary for me here. This is just another day.
Which is a really refreshing I kind of take, especially at that time.
Yeah.
On the gang movie, something that's very original in its direction, I guess. But.
And he hit the nail on the head so much so that it like resonated with a bunch of youths in gangs, and there was like violence and vandalism at early showings of this because all the gangs were going to the movie theater, realizing they were in the movie theater with rival gangs, and then a rumble would break out. Like to the point where the movie studio was paying for extra security at theaters. They were telling the theaters they could break out of their contract and they didn't have to show it if they didn't want to until like it caught some good reviews and they felt okay playing it. And then they gave out more ads and made it a wider release.
I feel like it might have even been banned in a country or something like that. Something about it being
North Korea for sure.
Well, for sure. Okay, it's at least banned in one country.
Yeah, at least.
So, these are Western ideas. We can't have these here.
Nope.
But it's something along the lines of being like, we're, glorifying the wrong things right now. These kids who are little murderers now.
And I don't even think it like glorifies it. Like, the scene that like does it for me is like when they finally get back to Coney and Swan's like, this is what we've been fighting all night to get back to. Like this bullshit.
The journey, I think, starts with like, look how sick the warriors are.
Yeah.
They don't take crap from anybody. And then at the end being like, oh man, like half these guys are dead now. And like, man, their lives
dead
suck.
Or locked up and just been getting beat all night.
And for what? Because someone just lied?
Yeah.
It's something as small as that. That is pretty messed up, man. Jeez. Well, I guess that kind of leads us to the rogues, which we haven't talked about at all. And Luther, who's also probably the most...
One of the most prolific actors in the Warriors.
I would say the most. James Remar, has Dexter, but he didn't have much more than that.
He did something else too that I was like, oh yeah, I forgot about him being in that.
Yeah.
Oh, he's the sergeant at the beginning of Pineapple Express when they're doing the experiment in the bunker.
But the gentleman who plays Luther is like a regular in the David Lynch cast. And he's in Twin Peaks. He does excellent work in Twin Peaks.
He's got that like face, that like eerie face.
Very sharp. He looks a lot like, and this is for Danny whenever he listens to this, he looks a lot like the guy who plays E.B. Farnham in Deadwood. They have a very similar kind of, it's definitely like a pointed kind of, very angular, you know what I mean? Very intense, yeah. Man, what a great villain though in this movie. And he's pure chaotic evil. Like he's just there to see what happens. He even says that at one point in the movie, more or less.
I just do stuff like that sometimes.
Yeah. It's fun, man.
He's
or
a straight up
like that.
psychopath. Yeah.
Yes, he's totally
like
insane.
to the point you get the feeling that his own gang members are a little bit afraid of him.
Yeah, he's like a loose cannon. And I think even at the end of the movie, they have the showdown on the beach. The gang definitely realizes, oh man, we've really messed up, especially when the Riffs show up.
Yeah.
After, they killed Cyrus. We've told this story so out of order, but who cares? This is an episode for
Go watch
people.
it. It's tight 90 minutes.
Yeah.
This is for the people who love the Warriors just like us.
We're just loving Warriors right now. But yeah, the Riff showing up, like you definitely see the regret in the gang. They're like, oh no, what have we done?
This is what we were telling you we were afraid it was going to happen from the beginning.
Yes. Yeah, what a great comeuppance. In the video game, when you get to the ending credits, because it ends right where the movie ends, while the credits are rolling, it's just a giant circle of the Riffs just beating up the Rogues in the middle of it. Like they've completely mosh pitted them. And
Do you get to spam the elbows like the one guy you see in the Riffs?
I think you get
just hitting it.
Oh, yeah.
He's just like, at the air.
When they get Cleon.
Yeah.
What is going on? Are they massaging him? I don't know.
Yeah, gotta get those deep knots out.
That if you can't spam that move in the Warriors game, they've missed the plot. They've missed the whole thing, man. Oof. Wow, what a great movie. Is there something else we've missed? I don't know.
I did just want to mention when we were talking about the numbers, so this movie got terrible reviews when it came out.
Okay.
Roger Ebert gave it 2 stars. But as he on one of, I'm just gonna keep screwing up his name now, Walter Hill's later movies, he actually rescinded, and he was like, I may have been too harsh on the Warriors. It actually has some pretty good stuff in there.
Oh, okay.
And this is a movie that grew in popularity with its age, which I think is really cool.
Yeah.
And just the cultural references to the point where I went and saw John Wick 4 today, and they do the last chunk of the movie before the final scene is the Warriors. It's John Wick bopping his way across the city. And there's a news radio who's giving all the updates to all the hitmen and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
They even do the covers of songs. It was so exciting to see.
Yeah.
And I just thought the timing was super funny.
Dang. Do they hit it with In the City at the end?
No, that would have been pretty crazy to end it that way.
That would be pretty crazy.
And what a good end credit song.
Yeah, I love that Eagles tune. That's an underrated Eagles tune for sure.
Oh, the score too. I can't believe we didn't talk about the original score.
The score or the soundtrack, which are both incredible.
Banging score, banging soundtrack. I love the 80s synths.
Yes,
they get me going.
I need to buy the vinyl of this, but there's no reprint of it. It's you got to buy some
find it.
$70 vinyl.
Woo, worth it.
I think so, dude. The songs used in the movie are sick. You get the Nowhere to Run To. In the City. There's another big one they use. Thriller. That's a huge scene in the movie when they all dance.
When they break out and dance.
Yeah. When the zombies come out of the graveyard. That one part of the Warriors.
The zombie gang meets the werewolf gang.
Dang, imagine, the Warriors video game needed a throwaway zombie level where it's you're bopping and now zombies. What? Zombies are here? That'd have been great.
Has zombies already become the thing, in video games at that point?
2000.
When did Call of Duty start doing it?
A little bit later. It was getting there. Yeah, I think Resident Evil 4 has a lot to do with it too, which was 2004 or the year before. But let's not start a Resident Evil podcast right now. It's already too late at night for that. Red Dead really ruined things for me. When they did Undead Nightmare, now in my head I just wish, why don't they just do Undead Nightmare and just put zombies in the whole game? Or they should have done it with Red Dead 2, but again, I find myself getting sidetracked here. The Warriors score is really good, and it couples really well with all the fog in the movie.
Yeah.
Which apparently a lot of it is just natural. It's just
what a lucky break.
The steam coming off New York streets, and it adds so much to it. But yeah, that steamy, almost Taxi Driver New York.
Yeah.
Plus that score. How does Danny not like this movie? I'm so curious. Not even to talk trash, but
I don't even know.
I guess if the performances really bog it down for you.
Yeah.
If you can't get past that, there's some stiff performances for sure. But but it's visually just so delightful.
I think the like lack of lore and backstory probably is some of it too, because he's also, I was trying to think about this earlier, he's also not a fan of John Wick, and it's kind of the same thing, you know what I mean? It's just like not even one dimensional. I can't think of the right word, but it's like not deep enough and like in knowledge for him, I think.
Interesting. Yeah, he does love a lore. He's a lore
does
man.
love a lore.
Yeah, this is just a drop. It's a cold open movie. The whole movie is just a cold open.
Mm-hmm.
That is interesting. I think some of the fight scenes are a little dated for sure, but
that's part of the charm for me.
But yeah,
like they're bad. Some of them are straight up bad.
I think we do have a higher affinity for schlock.
We do.
Yeah, so that could be another thing too. I'm curious, I guess, from the viewer. Of course, we'd always love to hear from you guys. If you hate the Warriors, I'm curious. What are your reasons?
Yeah, what are your reasons?
Yeah, not to say you're wrong. I just want to know.
Convince me not to like the Warriors. You're not going to pull it off, but I would really like to know the arguments.
You're really not going to pull it off. You know, speaking of you were just talking about like the synchronicity of Warriors and like John Wick 4 happening at the same time. So I busted out. It just so happened like 2 weeks ago, I'm cleaning out a bunch of old Game Informers I have, which I have back to 2003, dude.
Wow.
Yeah, this issue's May 2005. It's the Warriors cover issue. And I opened it to just the middle, and it had like a little, if you're watching the video, you can see this. It's an ad for Psychonauts, which I was just talking about on the last episode.
How weird.
Being like the Monkey Bone, the greater version of Monkey Bone. But yeah, it's also a really cute little ad. It's got some doors.
And I see some Resident Evil on the back too.
Dude, Resident Evil's on the back. Also on the cover, it says here, Master of Horror George A. Romero presents City of the Dead. They have like gameplay stills of a Romero game that never came out.
Ooh, that's fun.
That
what a
just
fun
got
little
canceled.
time capsule.
Yeah, man. I was so excited. I was like nerding out looking at this. Good old Game Informer. Actually, speaking of Monkey Bone, did you watch Monkey Bone, Grace?
I did. I enjoyed it.
Yeah. Did you really? Interesting. Okay.
It had some moments that were really stupid, and I can see where you're coming from with some of
Yeah.
your points, but I ended up enjoying it.
Interesting. Okay. I'm just glad we got a Monkey Bone update, a Monkey Bone date.
Yes, we made sure to get that homework done.
That's very nice.
Mm-hmm.
Man, The Warriors, what a great movie. Anything else? What do you think?
No, I feel like we set out to just have a gush fest. We got some facts in.
Yeah.
Some cold hard facts. One of the other things I learned that I was just super impressed with was like they got the green light from the studio like April, May of 1978, and the movie came out like February 1979. Like it just went. They just went out and did it. They were supposed to be like, and they went over time in production and over budget. They were supposed to do it with less.
Wow.
Yeah.
Man. Yeah.
You know, just live on forever and ever, I hope.
Beautiful movie.
Yeah, there was talks of somebody doing a remake, and then that guy died, thankfully. And then somebody else was thinking about doing it. I hope they don't. Just leave it as it is.
Get us that remake. Just put Chris Pratt as Swan. And then he can go, whoa, hold up. We didn't do it. Chill.
If they were doing a remake, who would you cast as Swan?
I would think you need to go two ways in my head. One, unknown. Do
Total
unknown again. I mean, it just makes sense.
Yeah.
If not that, Jacob Elordi.
Which one's Jacob Elordi?
He's in Euphoria.
Okay.
He plays Nate Jacobs.
Unknown to me.
He's in a couple other things. He's just got that really stern face, and the dude's super ripped. I mean, he's almost like underwear model ripped, though. He's a little too far, whereas Swan just looks like I let guys punch me in the stomach for like 30 minutes or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's like, I work out at a boxing gym, and Jacob Elordi's like, I'm Patrick Bateman. But yeah, that could work. Actually, he'd be a great Patrick Bateman too, now that I mention it. Anyway, what about you? Who would be your
As I was asking the question, I was thinking maybe one of the Skarsgårds, because I've just been seeing them a lot lately.
I think they're maybe too old now, though, aren't they?
Yeah. You know what? Not for Swan, but you could cast Timothée Chalamet as Rembrandt, I feel like.
He'd be
really
good
nice
Rembrandt.
with his new muscles.
Or maybe even Fox or something.
Yeah.
Throw his ass in front of a train. So, what's his stupid name in Dune again? What's the name of that stupid movie?
All I can think is Duncan,
Paul?
Idaho.
Is it Paul Atreides?
Paul Atreyu.
Paul Atreides. Atreyu.
The names in Dune are so ridiculous.
Duncan,
man.
Idaho.
What a
is like
stupid movie.
Duncan, Idaho is like if you were on a random fantasy name generator and that showed up, you would find another page.
Yeah.
You'd be like, this is garbage.
Duncan, Idaho seems like when you see a Redditor's name and you like know they used an auto-generated name. Yeah.
Duncan, Idaho is like a Johnny Cash folk song.
Duncan, Idaho would be a bad name for a porn actor. Like if you saw a porn actor with that name,
my
you'd be
gosh.
like, wow, that's dumb. I can't believe you couldn't come up with anything better. Yeah. Swipe right by it. Not even clicking on the video.
Horrible. Sorry, I'm coughing up, but it's just because we live in El Paso and it's
I
spring.
thought it was going to be me. It's spring and the air was 40 to 50% dirt today.
Yes, and I came out of school, the wind was blowing, and the school I'm at is having construction.
Hell yeah.
So it's just dirt everywhere, dude. I mean, it's like in my hair, in my eyes.
You're
and
like
my-
a young Anakin Skywalker.
Yeah.
You're just talking about how much you hate dirt.
it's rough and coarse, and it gets everywhere. God. Man.
Huh.
I hate the Star Wars prequels.
They are a little rough and a little coarse. That's for sure.
Today, we were cleaning up the room. Our contest season's over, so we spent a lot of time cleaning. And the kids are talking about how they love Radiohead so much. And I was like, you guys should check out the Coachella cover that Prince did of Creep. Because Radiohead hates Creep. And they didn't even know that Radiohead didn't like Creep. And I was like, no, they don't perform it. And they didn't perform it at the 2008 Coachella. So like Prince, during his set, covered Creep. And it was clear that he didn't even know the words. He just was like jamming on the tune. So I played it and they said it was horrible. They hated it. They were like, this is the worst thing I've ever heard in my life. And I was like, you know what, you guys...
Also, they're not familiar with Yoko Ono's catalog.
No.
Yeah.
I was like, you guys like the Star Wars prequels, all right? Let's leave it at that. And they were pretty offended by it because they're childhood gems to them. Ugh. Gross.
What a bunch of chumps.
Gross. Sorry to sour the Warriors talk with all the Star Wars prequels.
So good. I feel like we had some solid Warriors
Yes.
talk. Do you have any last final notes or tidbits for the Warriors?
Nah, I mean, I'm almost just ready to rip on Dune more. You know what I mean? And how boring it is. But
I was really enjoying that. It's been a while since we've ripped on Dune.
yeah, and
to be
Dune
fair.
2's coming out soon. It's like
God, every time I see something about it, I'm like, God damn it. God damn it.
I don't think I'm going to see it. I think I'm out. I might sit that episode out, or I might just.
Is that an option? Can we do that?
Can we just
Can we
refuse?
just have Danny do his own episode?
We could.
Yeah.
If we stood our ground, we could.
Yeah, I mean, I'm down. I have
That's the
no
problem.
interest
That's the
to see that
problem with
movie.
Americans. They won't stand by their convictions.
It's like, yeah, I could like dunk on a movie he likes with him in the room, but then I'd also have to like be bored for like 3 hours.
I don't want to watch it.
Yeah, I don't want to watch
And then
it.
everyone's gonna say, "Oh, it's so good. It's so amazing."
Like, you're dumb.
No, I'm fine. It's just not. It's not for me.
Yeah.
I'll watch the Warriors again.
Yeah, let's do that. We'll
I'll watch
do
it twice.
another Warriors episode.
Yeah.
We'll do like a playthrough of the video game on screen where we just talk
Yes.
about how good the Warriors is.
We'll say, "Hey, Danny. Yeah, we're gonna go. We're gonna catch it separately. We'll be ready to talk about it."
Yeah.
And then just do a Warriors takeover episode.
We'll plan on singing together, and then when he gets to Alamo, we'll be like, "Oh, we thought, like we said flicks, like don't you remember?" And then
Yes.
he's like, "Oh yeah, I do this all the time. This is my fault."
"Oh, I don't read text messages all the way through. Oh, my bad."
Go watch the Warriors.
Yes.
Shall we do a catch up?
Is there anything? What do you got?
Yeah.
Or are you passing it to me?
I'm passing it to you.
You
and we'll
passed it
kick
to me, and
back
I was like, "Nah, take it."
Do you have like before? Is it Western stuff or just
No,
regular?
no Western stuff.
I was gonna make sure because if it was Western, I was gonna go first, and then we'll go out to music. But yeah, no Western.
Oh.
What you been watching?
Man, I love your.
I'm thinking about the production, David. You know?
What a beast.
Yeah.
Well, I've just been playing Resident Evil 4 Remake, which is everything you could imagine, guys. Everything you want and more in a video game, Resident Evil 4 Remake. It's a great place to just jump in. You've never played Resident Evil? Just do it now, and you'll love yourself for it. So, I mean, that's that. And then as far as movies go, Michelle a few weeks ago was like, we need to watch... Well, you know what? She didn't even... Here's what happened. Okay?
What happened, Dave?
Sorry,
Tell
this
them
is-
what happened.
About a year ago, or maybe 2 years ago, I come home one day and Michelle is watching Enough with Jennifer Lopez.
Yeah.
And I just catch the last 5 minutes of the movie
Whoa.
where J-Lo is like beating up this dude.
Yeah,
and,
that's
like,
an intense part to come into.
throwing him across the house. And I was like, what is this movie? This movie's insane.
Like, why is J-Lo just attacking this innocent
This
man?
innocent, nice-looking man. He
Yeah.
looks like such a nice guy. So then I during the Brendan search, where I hit up some pawn shops with twins. We're strolling, and I find a DVD copy of Enough for 25 cents, and I say, I'm taking this home. So we watch Enough, and while the movie is very what's the word? Lifetime. It's like a Lifetime movie on steroids.
It's like a high-end Lifetime movie.
Yes. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was totally insane, and I'm having a great time. So,
Solid revenge flick.
yes,
It's
solid
one of-
revenge flick.
It's one of the least cringy revenge movies.
So if you guys remember, maybe 4 episodes or 3 episodes, I don't know how long I've been back. I mentioned this movie Fallen with Denzel Washington, where he's chasing like the devil and it's hopping between bodies or whatever. Well, I also found a copy of that while I'm out on the search. You know what I mean? So it was like I stumbled upon these 2 movies. So we watched Fallen like 2 nights ago. The movie's completely insane. It's like unhinged, very 90s. It's exactly what I was looking for. It is not a serious film. There's some really, really weird choices being made, but in a hilarious way. I also forgot that it had John Goodman as his partner.
Huh.
And his other partner is James Gandolfini. So you have some like really great actors. You also have Donald Sutherland as the police chief. So it's a good little core. But anyways, we're watching this completely insane movie where Denzel Washington captures a killer, and the killer uses a ancient Aramaic curse.
As you do.
Yes, to send his spirit when he dies, to
It's
send
like
his spirit after him.
Either that or plead insanity. You know what I mean? Those are your 2 choices.
Yeah, obviously. So it's not the devil. It's like it's Azazel. It's this fallen angel that was summoned by this serial killer. It's really bizarre, but it's a fun ride. And while we're watching the movie, I'm like, man, this movie's so insane. Let me see what else this guy has done. And the other movie he did was Enough. And I was like, this is really weird.
How funny.
We watched these 2 movies back to back with no thought of their connection whatsoever. But it's actually a great pairing, man. Enough and Fallen are both insane. If you really want some like late 90s, early 2000s, just off the wall nonsense, I would highly recommend these 2. But
We might have to take a wacky trip through the 90s
Yeah.
at some point, because we already have Fallen on the list.
yeah, it's
Off your
really
recommendation.
fun. It's fun in a dumb way. There's a lot of dumb stuff, but then it'll surprise you. You'll be like, oh, okay, all right, that's a pretty solid idea, Fallen. And then lastly, this is a shout out for Frank. You've been talking about Wizard and the Bruiser for years.
Yes.
And I finally, listened. I'd listened to one way back when you had told me about it, and I don't know, maybe I picked the wrong episode. I didn't listen to a lot of it. But you had recommended, I think, a Yu Yu Hakusho episode.
Yeah.
And I went and I listened to that, and I was like, well, this was great. This is a great episode. And then I've listened to like 4 or 5 more. I'm just fully in. It's a fun podcast, man.
It's fun. Once you get past Holden McNeely's voice, you're like, wow, these guys are super informative.
Holden sounds exactly like James A. Janice from Dead Meat. And Michelle's like, these guys have to be from like the same town or something. You don't know where the last podcast guys are from, do you?
They're from all over the place.
Oh, okay,
Holden, oh God, I know they used to say it all the time. He's like from somewhere super waspy.
It's not like Milwaukee, is it?
No, I don't think so. No,
I think Dead Meat's from Milwaukee. I don't remember. Okay, we'll update you next episode, guys.
Yeah, we'll see.
On where the locations of these 2 people are.
Well, I'm glad you've been checking it out. I feel
Yeah.
like that's a really fun, like, nerd
Yes,
podcast.
man. Yeah. I've been listening to that in Stavi's world. Stavi is this is a stand-up comedian I've been really into. He's funny. Great podcast. Anyways, what do you got, man?
We've been busting through. So I have a list of like just really big movies that Grace has never seen, like older movies. So we've been busting through a lot of that.
So when did you guys
Godfather.
hit Mrs. Doubtfire?
Grace has seen Mrs. Doubtfire. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Just
Because she had like a childhood.
Did you know? Isn't this the running joke? There's a bunch of stuff you didn't see. That's why there's this giant list of movies.
Childhood.
Sorry, that was more a dig at David. That wasn't meant for you. You were caught in the crossfire. I'm really sorry about that.
That's fair.
So we just
happens.
watched Scream. She had never seen the original Scream.
Oh, that's a cool movie.
What a good time.
I love that movie.
Matthew Lillard.
Yeah.
So good. So good. I'm feeling woozy, man.
Yeah.
What a good time.
His ending performance is... yeah, it's right on.
And I consult the list. We watched The Godfather, which was really fun. I'm really glad you finally made us watch that, David, because now I'm just totally in love.
Because now you are a man.
Yeah, apparently I wasn't a man until had seen The Godfather, which was really funny. We just watched The Big Lebowski, which I forgot. I can't believe I forgot already because it pinged in my head when you were talking about John Goodman. It's like, wow, we just watched John Goodman too.
Great movie. I haven't seen that one in a while. That'd be a nice one to hit back again.
So fun. I'm really glad she enjoyed that because I had been building it up for a while. John Wick today, of course.
Yeah, hell yeah. I'm definitely gonna have to watch that.
And I think that's about it on the recent watching. Been doing a lot of dashing, so just on the road most of the time. Listening to a ton of Scared to Death.
Oh, nice. You got to check out some Stavi's World. You'll have a good time.
Maybe I will.
There's an episode with Bert Kreischer that just came out. He just
Bert
always
Kreischer.
has a different comedian on, and the Bert one came out today, and it was hilarious. It was so funny. But anyways.
Yeah. Been watching, and then just always Cops. We just always have Cops
Really?
on
Cops?
at some point. Yeah.
Nice.
I was so excited when I found out Grace was a fan of Cops also.
Michelle and I used to be big Cheaters people.
Oh, yeah.
But, sometimes you go too deep.
Yeah.
You watch a couple uncensored episodes, and you say... I didn't need to see
Saw
that.
some things that, let's just skip to the one where homie gets stabbed and we'll call it a day. Yeah.
That's the problem, really. They peaked with the Greco getting stabbed.
You don't get better than your host getting stabbed on a boat. It doesn't get better than that.
And if you do, you can't show it on TV.
Can't show it on TV. Yeah.
Oh, man.
But that's funny. We watch Cops on Pluto TV, where they also have cheaters. It's in like the same category, obviously.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah. I guess since Danny's not here, thank you so much for checking out the channel. Thank you so much for checking it out, new and old listeners.
I felt like we had weird timing at the beginning, and maybe it's because Danny wasn't here to hit us with the plug.
It's like we didn't hear him pop anything, chew any ice, or hit the plug, so the rhythm was off. You know what I mean?
He definitely he adds a lot of auditory things.
The next time he's gone, I'll just put some of his sounds on the soundboard, and it'll be better.
Yeah.
Like, share, subscribe. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok at Uninformed Movie Reviews podcast. Maybe,
Yeah,
I think so.
And if you don't leave a 5-star review right now, Danny's gonna shave his head, and next time you see him, he's gonna have super short hair.
That's true, and it'll be all on you.